Hey, what's happening? It's Silas, back with my fourth book review. This book is called Breathe by Rickson Gracie. Rickson Gracie is one of the most famous martial arts figures in the entire world. His family, the Gracie family, began Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They took the art form from Asia, made some adjustments to it, and the Brazilian version of it is one that they created from that. His family is well known in the mixed martial arts arena, specifically again in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu section. Rickson has been competing for a number of years. He no longer competes, he's no longer active, but he did compete for a number of years and had a very impressive career in the squared circle, making his living and also building out his legacy in this space. The book Breathe is about him, his personal life, upholding the legacy of jiu-jitsu in Brazil and beyond, and how he balanced all of those things. Normally, I love to read personal development books. This book reads more like an autobiography, but there are personal development lessons in the book. The thing I enjoy most about the book is that he gives a lot of elaborate, colorful background with all of the fights that he had and all of the combat that he had in the process of upholding this very impressive record during his time of active combat in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Most of the time when we look at MMA, UFC, all of those sort of fighting and boxing leagues, we focused a lot on the violence. But the Gracie family, when they started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was not about inflicting violence on other people. It was about protecting themselves and also teaching other people who are considered to be normally weak to be able to protect themselves. And so one of the patriarchs of the Gracie family stated that he was born weak and he would die weak. And essentially the time in between that, he would be protected by jiu-jitsu. And so he wanted to be able to pass on this mantra to as many people as possible to teach them that it's not about being aggressive, it's not about being assertive, but it's about standing your ground. And so the book talks a lot about Rickson's story, but also the story of his other siblings, his children, his father, his uncles, and all the people, specifically the men in his family, that took on the jiu-jitsu art as a way of life. I liked the book. It was a change of pace for me. It was a book that was somewhat different than what I normally read, but it was beneficial for me. The book is entitled Breathe, and throughout the book, Rickson talks a lot about his body movements, his breathing exercises, and how important those things were whenever he would be in combat. There were times in the book where he would equate what he was going through in combat to what we go through in life. And so I thought that the parallels, the transferable lessons were important to be able to learn from. I would really suggest that people who are learning to balance a lot of high intense situations take a look at this book to be able to, again, transfer that knowledge from what he did with MMA and jiu-jitsu into our own personal lives. It is a book that goes into great detail about the good, the bad, and the ugly of his life. For a lot of people who know of him, they may only know of the glitz and the glam and the impressive record in the ring, but he goes into a lot of detail about personal family issues, and he holds no punches with respect to how he assesses himself and also the other men in his family. The legacy of the Gracie family is very strong to this day, and he takes pride in that legacy and that tradition that they uphold with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But with all that being said, the things we do in our careers are one thing, but what we do in our personal lives is as important. And so he holds no punches. He tells everything about his family, the ups, the downs, the positives, the negatives. And for that, I think he should be applauded. When you read the book, you'll notice that, again, the stories are very elaborate. They will keep you on the edge of your seat. I will tell you, in all honesty, some of the stories are so extravagant and so wild that at times I didn't think they were actually accurate and true stories. But the good thing about the internet is that you can go online and you can search pretty much every story he tells, and there's some sort of footage in video form or photography form where you can actually see the things that he's talking about. And so I recommend the book, as I always do with every other book. It's a good book to learn from. It shows you the 360-degree perspective of an honorable man. And he shows his flaws like I've not seen anyone share flaws before in a book. So I recommend the book, Breathe by Rickson Gracie. Really, really great book to read. My 4th of the year. Stay tuned. Come back to this page, subscribe, like the channel. I'll be having more books throughout the year. Take care.